Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the CeeLo Show. Thanks for liking and subscribe. Thanks for the listeners out there. There might be a few, but much appreciated. Today, we're actually going to be talking about UFC 291, Dustin Poirier against Justin Gaethje for the BMF title. It's on the line again. Jorge Masvidal retired probably about a couple months ago, and he was the one that was holding the belt. So now that he's retired, that belt is in the line, and now we're gonna have Gaethje against Foye, and that's actually one of my favorite fighters. And Dustin Foye for me is like actually my number one UFC favorite fighter. So I'm really excited for him to get this legacy fight. I just finished watching the press conference, and man, everybody was respectful. Um, actually it was quite fun. Yeah, like I said, just respectful. Good questions. Everybody looks ready. Tony Ferguson, I believe, looks the best I've seen in a while. He looks more confident, which I like, but I'll get to that in later. We're actually gonna start with Dustin Poirier and Gaethje. Well, Gaethje is a highlight reel, and Poirier is also one of the best boxers in the UFC. They fought before 5 years ago. Dustin Poirier actually won that fight in the fourth round. It was a great fight, back and forth. What happens with Gaethje is that even if you hit him hard, that guy is hard. He has a chin, so he doesn't go down easily. You have to hit him with a lot of punches for him to go down. Now, since then, both of them have grown as fighters, as much as Gaethje and Foye. But I think, me personally, and maybe I'm biased, I believe Dustin Foye is more technical, and he's a bit sharper with the punches. That being said, Gaethje's last fight with Faziev, I think, Rafael Faziev, that one was really interesting because that's when you kind of see Gaethje being a better boxer and just more careful of his punches. He didn't take as much damage as he usually does, so he's been doing really well, as well as Dustin Foye. Um, Crazy enough, they have kind of the same run. Dustin Foye right now, the only two losses really is against Habib and Charles Oliveira, and same with Gaethje. His last, well, actually, I will count three because what's his name? Eddie Alvarez also beat him, and that was like in his second fight in the UFC. So he was taking already on the like high level guys. Um, so my prediction for that fight, I will say definitely Foye will take the win, just based on what happened that fight before. Um, yeah, but this is the UFC, so anything can happen. Takedown, or even since they're both savages, I don't know. They're gonna be cut everywhere, so you never know. Maybe they're gonna stop the fight because of a cut, but I don't want to jinx it. But you never know. But my final prediction, I will say Dustin Poirier wins the fight. I will say in the later rounds. And as he says, if they go for 5 rounds, then I think they're gonna probably talk about it in the hospital. So yeah, I'm excited about this fight already. Um, the one that I'm also very excited about that will change the whole light heavyweight division is Alex Pereira against Jan Blachowicz. Man, that fight, both of them, they're Muay Thai fighters, they're stand-up fighters. Um, Blachowicz has a bit of a more of a wrestling background, so he's gonna be able to take him down the same way that he did with Israel Adesanya. Now there are two different fighters. I believe actually Alex Pereira is even a bigger guy than Easy. I don't know how he made it to 185, but he did, and he won the belt, and he won the first fight in the UFC against Easy. And that's why I believe this is a really exciting fight because it's actually, if Alex Pereira wins this fight, the fights that you can have with him with Yuri Prohaska, uh, the champion that just vacated the belt, Jamal, and Jamal Hill. What else? Who else? Oof, yeah, even like another guy that is coming up, the Brazilian guy that just recently defeated Anthony Smith. Um, his name will come to me. Johnny Walker. So yeah, no, I mean any fight with Alex Pereira in the light heavyweight will be amazing, and also opens the door for Adesanya to move up again to 205 and challenge for the belt and get another match with Pereira because they're 1-on-1 in the UFC, and outside of the UFC they're 3-0, or I think 3-1. I'm not quite sure, but and then we're talking about UFC here, so we're gonna keep it on that. So I will say that Alex Pereira has a bigger chance in the standing if they keep it standing. But if I was Blahovic, I will take Pereira down. Blahovic is not a he's not a small guy. He's a big dude. That being said, he's an older man now. He's about 40, and unfortunately, in the sport, when you're old at that age, it's not. I mean, it's not the you're not at your peak, and unfortunately, this game is for the uppercomers, the young guys, right? The hungry guys. That being said, the experience it's been done before by DC. It's been done by Randy Couture. So I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. And even actually happened with Glover Teixeira, which is another older dude that became a champ at 42 years old. So this one, I will go definitely my prediction. I will go more towards. I want I want Pereira to win because there's better matches between both of them. Between him and the rest of the light heavyweight division, and Adesanya also gets to move up. That can be a chance. So I like that as well. Um, for Blahovic, if he wins, then I believe it's been said that this is for the number one contender for the vacated title. So we will see. We will see. But definitely for me, my prediction, and I want Pereira to win. So I believe Pereira wins knockout. I will say third round. Or I don't think he will go 5 rounds. I don't see it, but once again, it's a UFC. You never know. Hopefully, it doesn't turn out to be a boring fight. But just knowing both fighters, it's going to be an exciting one. Then after that, we're actually going to have Wonderboy Thompson against Michelle Pereira. Pereira? Yeah, they all have some similar names. They're both very exciting fighters. You know, Wonderboy Thompson has been fighting for a long time. He fought for the title before. He's been training with Chris Weidman most of his career, so he's been fighting with bigger guys. He's not a small welterweight, but he's really long and very slim. Oh yeah, very very slim. So he does well in the welterweight division. Once again, the I believe he's almost 39 years old, or even he's in his 40s as well. So I don't know, maybe that's gonna be a difference in between this fight. Now Michelle Pereira. He's an exciting fighter. He's been doing better now, but I don't think he's that high level yet. I don't see that high level. Um, we're gonna see it. I mean, he's ranked number 15th, and Wonderboy Thompson is ranked 7. So if he wins this fight, I mean, he's gonna be in the top 10 already. And maybe even after this fight, he can fight a top 5 guy in the welterweight division, and we can, man, you can definitely see him going for a title run. I can see the same thing going for Wonderboy Thompson if he wins this fight. This one, I will say, um, it's kind of actually, I will say 50-50. Um, Same kind of how I feel with that co-main event, but that being said, I'm a Dustin Foyer fan, so I go for him. But on this case, this one is going to be a tough one because, like I said, they're both very talented. They're both in really good shape. They were really respectful towards each other. So yeah, no, it's we will see. In the press conference, Michel said that he fights for the fans and he's gonna make it an exciting fight. So when fighters actually do it for the fans, that's when good fights actually come up. It's gonna be a good card. So in my prediction for that one, even though I said, it's a 50-50, my heart says Wonderboy Thompson, but I feel like Michelle might get an upset here. So like I said, my heart says Wonderboy Thompson, but I think Michelle might get the win here. Now we're actually gonna move on to um, someone that hasn't fought in a while, and many people are thinking that he's done because he's been losing his last fights, I believe. That being said, Tony Ferguson has been fighting the high top level guys. So I know it's a tough pill to swallow because he's been losing a lot. Um, he's been looking different. What I've been watching on the episodes on Embedded and also on the press conference, some of the interviews he had, he sounds like he actually has a team now, which I believe that's a good thing. I believe before he was training by himself, he had his own camp and he was working for him, but eventually fighters like they caught up to your training or your ways of doing things. So because the sport is evolving so much, so I believe Tony Ferguson has a very big chance to win this fight against Bobby Green. Now Bobby Green is an exciting fighter too. Bobby Green actually defeated Dustin Foyer before, so he's one of those guys that he has punching power, and he can definitely have another upset. And if he wins against Tony Ferguson, I mean that's gonna help him actually probably get him another top 10 guy or even a top 5 contender in the lightweight division. Um, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be once again. I'm excited about this whole card, but hey, this fight as well. Tony Ferguson is back. Um, with my prediction with this one, I will say Tony. My heart says Tony Ferguson. I really want him to win. I believe he's doing the right thing with his camp. So I will say Tony Ferguson for 3 rounds. Um, or if he goes back to a little bit of his old ways, he can probably get an amazing submission because you can't really deny that he's an amazing jiu-jitsu guy. So don't underestimate Tony Ferguson because he might pull it up. So on this fight, definitely my prediction will be Tony Ferguson for 3 rounds. Um, Now we're gonna move on to Michael Chiesa against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, he has a big mouth, but he backs it up. He used to fight at middleweight. He had a run at middleweight. He had an amazing run during the pandemic. He was fighting all the time. He was winning. Then once he started fighting the high top level guys, and that's when he started having problems. Now since then he's been evolving. He's been doing better, but they still throw him with like the bigger, toughest motherfuckers out there. Kevin Holland for me is an exciting fighter. I always want him to win. I believe he might be taking this win as well, because I think he's used to be fight he's used to fight bigger guys. I don't think Chiesa is. I mean, he's a big dude. I don't even know how he made 155. He even talked about it in some of the interviews that, like he doesn't even know how he was able to make 155. Many times he used to get carried back to his hotel room because his weight cut was just too much, and he says he used to even weight after the cut like 183 or something like that. So that's a big dude. He's a long guy. He's a very tall guy. So I think that's where the problem was with cutting that much weight, because your mass as well. Now I want Michael Chiesa hasn't fought in about 2 years. Is been out in injuries. He's still been around the sport. He's a commentator, I believe. He's always in the panel. He has his own podcast. So he's definitely still involved in the game, but just hasn't fought in a while, and that might be a bit of a, I don't know, I wouldn't say ring, but maybe octagon rust. But who knows? Some fighters do really well when they take a long break. Some of them, they even become champions after that. So yeah, I really hope Michael Chiesa gets the fight. But I believe I definitely will have to go with Kevin Holland, just because of his past. He's been more active, and he's been fighting bigger dudes. And Michael Chiesa unfortunately hasn't fought in 2 years. So my prediction for this fight, I will definitely go with Kevin Holland. And I will say Kevin Holland will get. I think he will get the knockout. I will say second round. That's just my prediction. Michael Chiesa can pull up the grappling, and maybe can use that in his advantage, because I know he's a very good jiu-jitsu guy. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, no, definitely my prediction. Michael Chiesa. Oh, sorry, no, Kevin Holland. Now that's actually gonna be the first fight of the main card. Now, the other fight that I want to talk about, and actually the last one, will be the prelims, which I believe is going to be the Derek Lewis against the Brazilian guy. I believe his last name is Lima. I think they did Derek Lewis a little dirty. We know that he doesn't have a great gas tank, and yet they put him in Denver, Salt Lake City, which is altitude. So I don't know how it's gonna affect, and even that, not just Derek Lewis. I think it can affect any one of these fighters in the whole card. I think if you have him gone there for at least 2 weeks or even 3 weeks to, kind of climatize your body to the elevation, and some of the guys that come from Miami, or some of the guys that come from sea level, I mean, that might affect. So now, yeah, Derek Lewis, an exciting fighter. He brings a lot of people to the UFC. He brings seats. He's a UFC guy. Likely he hasn't been doing that great. It's unfortunately, once he hits the top level guys, that's when shit hits the fan, and it doesn't go well for him. he doesn't fight well under pressure or when he's on his or even in his hometown. Um, Now, from his last fights and from what I've seen before, when he doesn't fight and he doesn't have that kind of pressure, that's when he actually fights the best. And I think he will be taking this win, and I hope he does it quick in the first round. So, or if he doesn't do it quick, then I hope that he tries um, to control his power during the first or second round due to the elevation. But um, I don't really know much about Lima. I think I've maybe seen him fought once or twice. I'm not too familiar with the other guys, so I don't know much to say about him. But these are heavyweights, so anything can happen. One punch. And also, Derek Lewis doesn't do well in the ground, so I believe Lima, since he's a Brazilian guy, I'm assuming he's a jiu-jitsu guy, he can take that as an advantage. But Derek Lewis has the knockout power, so maybe while the guy is trying to go in for a takedown, he can do an uppercut, which is really good because, I mean, he did that to Curtis Blades, and he's a high level fucking wrestler. So, like I said, once he doesn't have that pressure, he fights well. So my prediction for that fight, I'll definitely will go for Derek Lewis. Well, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Um, Once again, I'm really excited about this card. I really hope that you guys are looking forward for this card as well. Leave any comments or even like and subscribe if you like this video, and you will. I would like to bring up more content more often. Yeah, tell me, who do you think it's gonna win the fights? I mean, it's also, you guys are also the fans, so tell me how you guys feel about these fights and the whole card. Well, we'll see you guys on the other side, and let's see the results for 291. Peace.